Yo, bloggers out now. No. Had to put on my best far right impression because my brother
Yes,
is running a little late on time today. Some things come up in your life. Sometimes you have to adjust. So, we're here to spark it off. He will be joining us shortly. But if you're listening, congratulations, you're back again for another one. If you're watching, thank you so much for joining us per usual. You already know the voice. And if you don't get familiar, it's your boy, Mr. Deshaun Webb. Today, I'm a chill guy with opinion that nobody might care about, but I still feel like giving it. So hopefully it resonate with you. If you feel like challenging me, I'm open for all the smoke.
well said, well said, well said. I think Fire will be proud of that opening web. You do your best impression. It wasn't Fire energy, but I know he'd appreciate it. So we're here for another episode again. If you guys know, to that feeling like an alter ego. So again, with Peter tonight, we're here with ah one of the best people you'll get to know. So I'm just
Hmm.
let her introduce herself. I don't think I could give justice to the individual we have on the pod tonight. So I'm just let her take care of that.
Yes. Well, hello. My name is Diana Diaz. I am part owner of Blue Tarp Productions. I am also a writer, a journalist for the VI Source, and just a creative at heart. I definitely, I'm into the arts. Um, I am also a part of the program, which is the Film Over Gun Violence program. And that's what we're here to talk about today.
Thank you for joining us.
Mhm.
Definitely a pleasure to have you on. We know you're doing some powerful things in the community that we do want to highlight. We do work with Blue Top, powerful organization. There's
Mhm.
some different things going on in film in the nonprofit space. Um, Before we get into the nitty gritty, tell us a little bit about the Film Over Gun Violence program, and then from there we'll build upon everything else.
All right. So the Film Over Gun Violence program, we basically took young people over the summer and we had 2 months with them. We split it into two parts. The first part was we had them do some research on just the rate of gun violence in the Virgin Islands. And with
Mhm.
that research, what they did was they presented monologues. Now, this happened thanks to our partners, Center for Educational Growth, where they provided the space and the teacher to help with this research. And then the second part, we took it over to our other partners, CMC Arts, where they gave us the space where we did the second part of the program, where we taught
Mhm.
these kids how to write, how to handle cameras, how to produce, and how to film, and how to act in their own short films. So yeah, but the purpose of the program was basically creating an avenue for these young people. Sometimes young people say that they don't have nothing to do. Just creating another avenue for them to basically get into the film industry, in which
Mhm.
the film industry is something that does pay. So just opening up that avenue for them.
I want to say I
Okay.
appreciate. Before you go, Brian, I want to say I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm in the media and communications, in school for media and communications right now, and I'm learning all the things that actually goes behind filmmaking, all the nitty gritty, the writing, the preparation, the different things that does do have to think about it. And I would say, growing up home, I never saw for a fact. I know I never saw that opportunity for me to
No.
even explore the possibilities of even getting to that. To be honest, it's only until I'm older and
Right.
moving into America and these spaces I'm even finding the interest in those particular realms. And I know we have the social media boom with people doing mini documentaries, short films, just short reels in general. And all these things are spaces in which people could actually make quite a bit of money especially when we talk about the digital age that we're in. When you talk about advertising needed to make money on advertising, we talk about everybody's consuming film, 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 film. A lot of people have dope stories that could be told out here, and and I really appreciate the fact that you guys are bringing that to home, being out at the Virgin Islands, and pioneering that and giving the children and anybody in general just a new opportunity and a new space that they could vent or release or just get into for the sake of revenue or whatever the case may be. So big kudos to you guys. I wish I had
Thank
an
you.
applause button. I gotta get an
Yeah,
applause
fam.
button to start
Thank
giving
you.
applauses.
Thank you. And it's so interesting. I'm happy you said that because when I was growing up, you know, too, like it wasn't. It was either you had to be a doctor, a lawyer,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what
teacher.
it was. They were pushing
Yeah,
those conventional jobs, so that's why I was going with that as well. So it's like
yeah,
you pushing something that is non-conventional, but in the space that we're living in today, it's becoming more prevalent. Like
right,
Deshaun said, like you could go to school for this. People are pushing it. You mean you have to go? You could stay at home and just start from the basis. So the fact that you're able to bring this opportunity to people who probably never thought of that, or people who are seeing others doing it but don't know how to have to get their start in that space. I'm glad that
correct,
you're able to provide that space.
correct. Yes.
Okay, Diana. So with film over gun violence, this being the pilot, how many students were you able to take into the program for your first go around?
Yeah, so like you said, it was our pilot program. So we had about 10 students this go around, but we're hoping just with the exposure and just having our film debut and just with the buzz and everything that we can get more funding so that we can expand the program even further and have take on more students.
I want to ask. I know we're working in kind of a undeserved community in the sense that, like we shared earlier, these things are not things that were available or readily available to us very easily. So, how would you say that you are able to reach and engage with these young individuals, and what strategies so far have been proven successful in keeping them committed to the program through the length?
So far we've used our social platforms, so just using some social media, and we've also somewhat reached out to like schools. Um, we've also, reached out within our circles as well. But yeah, that has been kind of like the source. Oh, and then also we have had, thanks to our partners as well. CFEG is like an online school. They put out
Mhm.
the word, and CMC Arts, they have a lot of programs that occur with young people. They also put out the word as well, so that helped as well.
And would you say the community as a whole, do you think you have a lot of support from the community as a whole, or would you like to see more from the community?
Oh, definitely. And I do need to thank our sponsors because we did have
Mhm.
some sponsors, which was via Ocean Point Terminals, um, a VI Council for the Arts, the Community Center for the Arts as well. They were a huge contributor. Heavy Materials as well.
Oh, nice.
So yep. So we've had a couple of sponsors, and we're hoping to get even more sponsorship because the more the sponsors, the bigger the program, the longer the program. Um, but other than that, there has been. Everybody always says, "Oh, that's such an amazing program you guys are doing." Everybody embraces it. They do
Mhm.
embrace it, but I feel like sometimes as a community we may be like, oh yeah, such a good, but sometimes we do not support, and it's not only our program. I've seen it in other programs.
Mhm.
Yes.
They do not provide as much support um, for each other, and I think that's something that does need to change within our community.
It's an unfortunate reality, and that's why I posed the question so that it could be called. Because of course I know there is a lot that are supporting, but I do know that I feel a community that as small as ours could be doing more to push certain initiatives, could be doing more pouring into certain initiatives and helping drive the change that we sit and the social medias or the people
You
that's
talk about
outside talking about like we could do more. We could do more. When we see these things, sometimes
especially
we pass it.
when it
Absolutely.
concerns the youth that we
Yes.
so tend to cater to and push that they're the future. But if we're not, like you said, giving them these platforms and these outlets to engage and to learn about things outside of the set standard norms, then we're doing them a disservice. So it's like you said, it's all good to say that these things are, good programs, but we need to spread the word, help get funding so these things can be expanded so more people can get the opportunity to dabble in experience things that they may not have been accustomed to, like things that we didn't experience as we were
Right.
growing up ourselves. So
Right.
yeah,
Right. Absolutely. And there are some people within our community, and I'll shout them out really quick. Kevin Factor. I don't know if you are familiar with the
yeah.
Proctonite
Drop
Sand.
those episodes of sand, brother. Drop the
Yeah.
sand episodes.
He helped so much with the program. He
Mhm.
was a part of the program, and then we had Saida Carter. From the Synchro Educational Complex. She's the
Yeah.
teaches the kids acting. She was phenomenal. And
Shout
then
out
we also
Saida.
had a live-in artist for CMC Arts, Miss Moore.
Hmm.
She came
Mm,
from Atlanta.
Hmm.
She taught
that's
the
good.
kids.
Fire.
Yeah, so yeah, we collaborated with a couple of people, a
That's
couple
good.
of
That's good.
local
Well
talented people.
known. Tell enough.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Love to hear that. You talked about nonprofits. You're working in nonprofit capacities. I want to dive into that because I know, like, even that information, a lot of people don't really know how to maneuver in those spaces, or that those spaces are available to kind of pour into to be able to help further initiatives within the communities. So, what
Mhm.
motivated you to get into the nonprofit space, and then could you share some insights and in insight on the challenges, some of the rewards of working within that sector, specifically like areas like funding, community engagement, which we just spoke about, and just the different measurable impacts that it could have within the communities rather than just relying on some of the private sectors or necessarily the government to do some of the things that we see that needs to be done within the territory, within just the wall in general, to be honest.
Yeah, so just as far as the nonprofit, thanks to the Center for Educational Growth, it is very difficult to become a nonprofit, and we are not as yet official nonprofit, but we are umbrellaed under the Center for Educational Growth, and
Hmm.
through that collaboration with them, we were able to be able to do this. So, but we are in the works of that. But yeah, it's without them, this program wouldn't have really been able to happen. But yeah, it is in our goals and in our agenda to definitely get into that space. But I always think just like with a nonprofit altogether, I totally respect nonprofits because it
Hmm.
is so difficult to get the
To
funding.
get it off. Yep.
It is difficult to get the funding, and there's not a lot of sources to get funding from, and it is truly a selfless thing, this arena.
Hmm.
Because you give a lot of yourself,
Hmm.
a lot of your time, and you may not necessarily be getting the pay that you deserve.
Mhm.
So, but yes, it is
And where can you talk about just a little bit? Don't have to go too deep about like where does funding from for nonprofits generally come from? Like, what does that process kind of look like? So let's say I start a nonprofit today. Obviously, the process is not that simple to just say, but when I start a nonprofit, where is the funding coming? Am I funding this out of pocket? Am I doing outreach? Am I doing a GoFundMe? Can you talk a little bit about that from your experience?
Well, to be honest, I am not absolutely sure just in terms of the nonprofit because we're not a nonprofit yet.
Hmm.
But I do know that, again, like these nonprofits, just working within the nonprofit sector, there are certain grants that they are eligible for. But then, other than that, they have to get funding from other places. Like, you see, like what I told you, the list of sponsors, they have to
Hmm.
get sponsorship.
It's a
That's
lot
dope.
of layers and regulations when it comes to nonprofit. web in terms of like your platform, like what is your the goal. You first have to set that up. You have to have that game plan a set, and then in terms of funding is very particular in terms of where you can receive funding, because a lot of people are willing to fund programs, but it has to align 100% with your initiative. Like you can't be green and then get funding from an oil company. So everything has to align on a multi-level in terms of like grants. You have to provide proof on where money is coming in, how you can, because you can get money and get funding and not be considered a nonprofit. So the nonprofit comes in terms of like more of the grant space, but we're not gonna get into that too deep on here. But it is like Diana said, it's multi-level to be considered a nonprofit, and in terms of your funding, you have to be ultra specific with where you get your funding from and how you can apply or get approved for certain grants. But we're gonna bring a nonprofit organization out here for you folks later.
I
I
think that
got a
would
few
be an
people in
amazing
mind.
idea.
I
I
have
think
a
that
few
would be an
people in
amazing idea.
mind, and we're gonna do that just for you guys because it's a good space. Maybe we could also bridge that connection for you as well, then. So, for sure.
Definitely, because the process is definitely, it's good knowledge to know just the entire process.
If you're listening, y'all heard it here. We're looking for somebody to come speak about some nonprofits today. But before we continue, wait, man, you ain't like and subscribe yet? Take time, take time. Go ahead and do that for me. Our new team member who I
Oh
gracefully
my
did a
gosh.
beautiful
Hey, fella.
introduction for is back, man. Far right, what is up? What is up?
I am good. I am good. My apologies. I in the States
Hi.
for the week and I completely disregarded the hour setback that we have here in Florida. So
Yeah.
Brian called me. I'm like, oh my gosh. But nice to meet
So,
you, Diana.
guys,
Nice to see you put the voice to the face.
this guy
Nice
is
to meet
usually prompt and always on time, so it was quite a shocker.
you. It's fine.
Quite a
All right.
shocker.
Let's press forward a little bit. There's some films coming out on the
Yes.
Film Over Gun Violence program. I want to ask you, what are the main objectives of the program? Go a little bit more into depth into it, and then let's talk about a little bit more in depth about the films that's coming out, a little bit of the behind the scenes. If you want to give us any
Yes,
exclusives.
yes, a little exclusive, a little
Yeah,
sneak
yeah,
peek.
we like exclusives. We like exclusives.
Yeah, I think there's
Tell us what
something
we can
to do.
expect.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
So,
So okay, so well, behind the scenes, I would say to we could start with the movie. Let me see, Bulletproof Dreams. That's the program. That's what we did during the summer. We did that. The kids actually uh, picked from everything from the title of the movie. They wrote it. They picked the actors. They filmed
oh,
it. That one, without giving away too much, without giving away too much,
Thank you so
it's
much.
about a young man that he has to pretty much make a decision. We'll just put
mhm,
it that way. He has to make a tough decision,
mhm,
and in making that tough decision, he has a couple of friends along the way, some that may not be good company, some might that may be good company. And yeah, it's just, and I think it's just something that a lot of young people can relate to in terms of their circle of friends and who
mhm,
they hang around with. So it's extremely relatable in that sense of just keeping who you keep around you.
mhm.
Mhm.
I think it definitely is heavy in touching that topic. But yeah, that's all I'll give away for now for
That's
Bulletproof
cool.
Dreams.
But that's
That's
that.
cool.
See, that alone is super relatable. The
Yes,
company you keep. I
right.
like that. I like that. I like
Mhm.
that. I like that.
I
And
think the
then,
name's super powerful as well. Bulletproof Dreams. I know that
Bulletproof
sound
dreams.
like something like what?
It's
yes,
Yeah,
like
man, this thing is something serious. You know what I'm saying?
it sounds
yes,
like a good movie title. And they go
Yes,
name like they go name to an album like I just got these
right.
bulletproof dreams. Like, oh,
Yes, and you know what's funny? One of our
I feel like I dropped at 16.
our 14-year-old picked that dream. His that title. His name is Imitat
Wow.
Carson. He
Yeah.
chose that title. I was like, whoa, this is pretty good.
He gets something in his mental, man. Bulletproof
Yeah,
dreams.
yeah,
That's for
yeah.
your daughters, man. These dreams bulletproof. I like that. You see what
Right? I
shout
agree.
out to yeah, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and then the second one is called Fall, and that one is written by a young person. Her name is Angelina Lang.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we met Angelina, and I say we. I am part owner. George, shout out to George Cannon. He's my partner in this. Um, so Angelina Lang. We met her at our film premiere last year for Blue Tarp Productions, and she came up to us, and she was like, "I want to write," and we were like, "You want to write?" Usually, we get people. I want to act.
Yeah.
Want to,
Right.
yeah,
Awesome.
but never somebody that wants to write. So we were like, what? Yeah. So we were like, okay, write something for us. And let me tell you, she blew us away with this script. She blew us away with this script. It's a love story. It has and I feel like it has a little bit of everything. It's it has a love story. It has a little bit of drama in there. It has a little bit of comedy in there. And again, another relatable thing because I feel that gun violence in our community affects us all. So
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I
For
think
sure.
that
Yeah. Sure.
everybody will be able to take something away from this movie. So that I will say about that one.
That's
That's
cool. And both of
excellent.
these movies you guys did during this past summer?
So okay, so Bulletproof Dreams, we did it with the younger adults. That's between the ages of 14 and 19.
Mhm.
We did that during the summer. That was a 2-month program, and then
Okay.
fall actually took us about a year to complete. So
Oof.
Mm.
we filmed over the
Yeah.
summer, but with the process of the writing and the like, we really took our time with this film. The whole process took a year.
So
That's
are
crazy.
both of these premiering?
Yes. So both of them are premiering on December 20th, Friday, at the Caribbean Cinema. That's the Sunny House Theater. So they're gonna
Mhm.
be on the big screen, and we're
That's
having
cool.
a
That is
red carpet event
awesome.
for them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's
so
awesome to
they
see your
premiere
work
on the
up on
20th,
the
but
big
how long
screen.
are they gonna be in at the theaters to see? Because I come back on the 22nd. I would love to see that on a big screen.
Oh man, I know. I wish, but we're gonna have another time when we do it, but it's not gonna be in December, unfortunately.
Mm.
But we have not finalized the date yet. But
Makes
I
sense.
will definitely let you guys know, and then eventually, like, we're trying to figure out other things in terms of getting the films out there so more people can enjoy.
Had a boot like but
How,
no, it's joking, man. It's
No,
joking,
no,
yeah,
man.
no.
I'm making joke.
how
I'm
about
making
to
joke.
set?
I'm making joke. I'm making joke.
I know, I know, I
Oh, I
know.
was gonna say I would
I
love
could
to buy a
FaceTime you,
DVD from.
Farik. I buy my
Yeah,
ticket.
yeah. Brian has been to one of our premieres, so he could tell you, he could testify, and I think
Yeah,
we set the bar a little higher this time too, especially
Man,
putting in this
for
movie
sure.
theater. Every year we've trying to like set it a little
Elevate.
higher.
And that's a good example for the kids, to know that progression is the way to go. We ain't
Facts.
for
backpedaling. We
sure.
only getting better. So,
I w
Yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
I
And then
wish that
I am
yeah.
curious though. I am curious. How did that process work in getting Caribbean cinemas to show the movie at
So
their
yeah, so they are also another sponsor too. They
Mm.
sponsored the theater for us for these kids.
yeah.
Yeah, and they were so supportive, and they have still been so supportive in wanting the kids to to show their movie to their friends and family and to the public. So, yeah.
I
Shout out
want
to
to take a pause real quick to really highlight the accomplishment. Because it's kind of crazy. Just think about like, yo, I about to pull up to the movie theater to see a premiere of some works done in the community. That's
By the
By
really,
people in
community.
the
really
community.
5% exact. That's really, really, really powerful. And
Thank
I
you.
Yeah.
think that's very impactful and is something that we need the community to really support. Listen, if we gonna sit on here, carnival time coming up, and I don't see 20,000 cars, it seems like you gotta spend $20,000 to go to these events.
Yeah.
I better show up for this premiere the way that we will show up for these events, because this
For
is this
sure.
this is something that could really set precedents. I said I
Mhm.
work correctly.
Precedence, yeah.
All right, cool. Working on it. But this is something that could really set an example for the community, for the writers, for the actors that this is real. And I'm saying this is not something this is a real opportunity that you could really go places. The next step, I'm assuming, is to try again on Netflix, to try again on Hulu, to try again on streaming platforms, whether it's a website where we have our own VA Netflix kind of vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Mhm.
endless community possibilities, and if we pour in the support for it, we could really create a lane within the Virgin Islands in itself in the film industry where we start to attract people to come down here to look for actors, to come
Right.
down to look for writers, to
Right.
come down, you know what I'm saying, to come down to look for videographers. Because like we talk
Yeah.
about, people don't think about sometimes the length of these things. We're talking about a year worth of work. And this is a
Yep.
lot of
Right.
shooting, a lot of different aspects
Editing,
that's going behind it. We just talked
rewrites.
about a
Yep.
14-year-old coming up with like a whole script for a movie that about to play in the movie theater. Like,
That's
who would have
insane.
thought?
I
Like,
like
who
we
would have
saying
thought?
with.
Yeah. It's
You
insane.
got we gotta show up for our own, man. I agree with you,
Yeah.
Web. Like
Hey,
we showing up to watch all these strangers on the big screen and our own people write, film, direct, edit. I know they hosting their own premiere
Yes.
Youth.
for a local film. Come on,
Youth.
the
Yeah.
youths with the
Yes.
guidance of people like Diana and George. Come on,
Yeah.
And
that's something
Brian,
it's
serious.
the perfect opportunity for the community to really come together. And like you
Imagine how
said,
the
like
kids will
when we
feel.
talked on the
A crowded theater for a film that I write.
hey,
Come on.
exactly. And then those that wasn't involved in the initial in these movies that's premiering and being able to see whether it's their friends or people they're seeing at school, just see that this is real and it's actually a quality film, quality films, and want to be a part of it. But not only that, like you mentioned in our call prior to this episode here, just showing them that there's different avenues to be able to pursue outside of school, any things after school that they could pursue that doesn't have to be nonsense, really and
Right.
truly, that they could actually do something with their time that's productive to actually create something of quality and to present to the world in whatever way, shape, or form. So it's a
Absolutely.
serious opportunity.
I want
Yeah.
I want to issue a challenge. First of all, Brian, we need an art review from you, man. I just learned about art reviews. I actually had to do one for the film. What film it was on?
I,
The
I
Wild
love to do
Robot.
those kind of reviews.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm give you some pointers on what they teach me in school to look for and certain things, so we could have like a real good come true review synopsis of
Ah,
what went on, highlight, be able to highlight the actors, highlight the behind the scenes. We gotta get the
oh,
behind the scenes
for
stories
sure,
and
I
everything.
for
love
sure.
that. I love that
Look, me
idea.
pulling up on the cast members after the screening because I expect all them to be present, obviously dressed to the nines because it's your film.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. A whole
we
red
will get a
carpet.
couple come true exclusives for sure, for sure.
I
What
love. I love
what
Man,
do
that.
you see, Diana, as like the end goal behind what you're doing? Like, what is the ultimate goal behind what you're doing? What is the impact that you're really trying to have behind the different things that you're they're actually doing?
It's kind of what you mentioned. Having Virgin Islanders in front and behind the camera.
Mm.
That is our end goal. Initially, and just letting people know that there so when it comes to a film, there's different parts. You if you there's a director, there's production, there's the actors. Yes, there's sound. We have
Mm.
the sound, there's lights, There's the director of photography. There's so many different parts to a production that people do not know about, and there's so many different avenues of work that people do not know about, that I feel like this will help in adding to the conversation of, there's other things out there, other possibilities, and it will trigger something within our community.
I'm
I
glad
can
you bring
see
up
it now.
some, because that's one of the things like I really started tapping once I got into school. Specifically,
Mhm.
like the people who, I don't know if it was any of this going on within the films, but the people who actually sat there and they go into song rooms and they create the songs. Like they sit there and pattern the
Oh, I
couch,
love those people.
pattern the floor, and create some of these songs. And even like the production, I was talking to a family member of mine who was talking to about getting into production, and I was
Mhm.
asking him like, what kind of production you getting into? I know he specifically talked about music, and my immediate question is like, why we only talk about that avenue when we come to like sound mixing and stuff? Like, why are we not getting into the other realms? For example, like getting into films, like there's so much little nuances that we don't think about. That's people in America and people in this industry are making big. We talking about big money. We're not talking about little no small time change. We talking about
For
people have
things that
big,
you don't even know the names of. Yeah.
which
Yeah,
also opens the room for more job opportunities in the community, for more buildings that we have to create to house these things. Like that's the big impact. Like these are the steps to be able to, when we say like ain't got no jobs. All right, no, here is a group essentially creating jobs. Because
But
I'm
that's the
sure there's
thing. I
so
like where
much
you went
Creating
with
people
that,
with
skills
Deshaun.
that could
stories.
get you jobs.
Yeah, there's so much
Because
people
you
with
said that,
stories.
Deshaun,
Go ahead, Brian.
I have something. You trigger it. It can't let go. I like you said that because within the film industry, it creates that partnership with other avenues that you don't even think about. Like just saying with how you're filming a film and you have these sets and these productions, you have other outlets that you can get into. Like you were saying, like I could be a student wanting to learn about carpentry, but I love the film industry, and boom, now I'm in set production. So I like that
Mm,
bridge that you mentioned, that connection, because there's a lot of things that happen in the film industry or the theater. Let's just go theater and arts because it's all encompassing, that you don't even think that like that path could be yours. Like you may not be destined to be the best, fashion designer, but set production and wardrobe, that's a big part of films. Those are the little things that people tend to like pass over, but they're
yep,
key important things. People who build these sets and who do the lighting and all these other things. I may be into botany,
Makeup.
that tree you see in the background, everything is placement key. So there's a lot of connection, and like, the fact that Diana's opening this avenue and what you mentioned, it just popped into my head. Like there's so much for people to get involved by just planting a single seed in the community. So I
right.
like that you trigger that in me. That's good.
yeah,
To piggyback, it also just speaks on the broad nature of that, the type of skills that you could develop in the film industry with the different
Yeah,
avenues, especially in 2024, everything digital. the, Even going into marketing, all types of different things you could get from these sets of skills that you have. It don't just have to be specifically to filmmaking for movies or things like that. It's broad, and it's a essential skill. I'd even say a lot of those skills you can learn from those different portions of disciplines that you deal with in film creation is essential skills that we use today and will be using for years to come.
absolutely, absolutely. I agree with everything you're saying. It is like Brian said, it could be the smallest thing on set, and it's so important. Getting the lunch, making sure making sure the cast members are
that's set
there.
assistant.
Yeah, so there is a position. There's so many different positions, so many different elements, so many different layers to putting on a production. Yes.
Hmm.
Diana, was this always a space you saw yourself getting into, or was this something that you kind of discovered along your journey of the things you were doing in life?
So I knew that I was always passionate about writing from very young. I always used to keep a journal. I
Mm-hmm.
always kept a journal, and in school, I wrote our class history,
Mm-hmm.
for our yearbook. But I never triggered to me. It never triggered in my brain that there was a place for me that I could utilize writing. All I knew is I like to write. I always knew that. And I would say in 2020 during the pandemic, I feel like the pandemic triggered a lot of like extracurricular activities for people.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
saw a posting for the VI source. So I was like, that's our local news here. And I applied, and they were like, they like I had like a blog back then. They
Mm-hmm.
loved my blog, and they were like, let's start writing. So I started to write, and it triggered something in me. It triggered the love again of writing. I knew, I feel like I can do something with this. And then George came along, and we just started talking, and he's already like, so he handles, he's been into filming, and he had that element, and I loved writing, and he's a pretty awesome writer himself. And we just started to get together writing scripts, and then it just jived. Everything just jived, and we started to create these short films, these short indie films, and it was something fun for us. It was something very fun for us, and the cast was always got along very well. The crew got along very well, and we we did the premiere. It was such a good vibe that we said, "What else can we do?
Mm-hmm.
What else can we do?" And just meeting Angelina, who wrote the script, Fall, we were like, "What can we do with young people?"
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it sparked, and that's how it's kind of like started.
Everything
Okay.
fall right into place.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
But
how
yeah,
the best things happen.
right,
Diana
right.
spoke a lot about her love and passion for writing. But what she didn't highlight, guys, is how great of an actress she is. Because she
Oh,
also starred in some of these films that she talked about writing. So Diana, how about you share, the acting part of your talent?
yeah.
Because I was
So
blown away last year.
yes, so I wrote and acted in a movie. Oh my gosh, I even forgot the name of the movie. Oh yeah, Grace. Grace.
Don't
Sorry,
do
it was
that.
a year.
I know it was Grace.
Sorry. Grace. Yes, Grace. And it talks about the topic is another social issue that is not discussed within women.
Mm.
Postpartum. It's
Mm.
about a woman going through postpartum depression, and I acted in it. And yeah, it's a very near and dear film to my heart, because I too went through postpartum. So it was kind of like, this is what happens. So yeah,
Is that film still available for people to
it
go
will
check out?
eventually, it will be. We're in the works of that, and that will, as soon as we get that finalized, I will share. We're gonna share it like crazy. But yes, it was premiered to the public.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we have not put it out on any platform yet, but we will.
Oh, as well.
Fellas,
Go ahead, Brian. My bad.
before sorry to cut you off the shot. I just want you guys, before you guys are able to see this film eventually, remember the Diana that we are talking to this evening and make your comparisons to the Diana on screen. That is the
Yeah,
only insight I will give you into the film. Have some
yeah,
grace.
When I watching, like I said, I'm learning to do these things. So it's a
Uh-huh.
practice for me now to really evaluate this and check it out and really give a review. Which, while we're talking about it, even that is another space where people make money just doing the reviews. If
Yeah,
you give
Oh
in
yeah. I
great,
need to game. I
profound,
need to do
impactful
this.
reviews, this is
yeah,
a lane that is available in writing. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of journalism. Like journalism is a big thing. Like that could be your niche. You know what I'm saying? If you can't do anything and you can't get out there and act or hold the camera or wherever it is, that can be your lane where you really sit, evaluate films. People will pay you to come, and then you could branch off into doing that type of stuff. People will pay you and come to evaluate their restaurant. They'll come and pay you to evaluate this, like that.
Mhm.
There's so much. I tell people all the time, there's a lot of opportunities. Sometimes we have to create them, and sometimes we have to just be willing to look for it. Like certain
True.
things that we dream about really are bulletproof. You know what I'm saying? You just have to be able to go out there and find the lane in it, and then be willing to reach out and not scared to reach out and ask the questions, which will lead to one of my questions is how can more people get involved? How can we contact you guys and get more involved in the process as a youth and as an adult wanting to just pitch in? I'm not sure where I could pitch in, but I just want to contact you guys and ask, okay, how can I pitch in?
Yes. So we let me tell you one thing we embrace is people wanting to help because there's always some way, some shape, some form that you can. And the best way to reach out to us is through our social platforms, which is on Facebook. You could inbox us at Blue Tarp Production Films with a S, or on Instagram at Blue Tarp Productions.
Mhm.
All right. And then, or you can email us, bluetartproductions at gmail.com. That's the best way to get in contact with us. And we will, yeah, we embrace anybody, whether you have a script, whether you want to act, whether you want to be a part of the behind the scenes crew,
Mhm.
anyway, yeah, we embrace it. We embrace it.
I got a question for you before we wrap. Because
Mhm.
being from the Caribbean, people outside of the Caribbean, but may not understand, but the name Blue Tarp, it resonates a lot with us folks here
Mhm.
in the Caribbean. Could you tell us how you decided to, why or how you came up with the name Blue Tarp Production for your organization?
So it was definitely a collaboration between George and myself.
Hmm.
And I think we like to see it as, when the roof fly off, you just throw a
Hmm.
top on it and you keep on
Hmm.
going. Is
True.
that kind of way, like,
True.
the wheels, we're going to continue to move, we're going to continue to make it work, even if we got to just throw a top on it and keep it going. So I
Check.
think that really is what uh came from that name.
That's a dope
I
question.
respect
Yeah,
it.
that's a dope
That,
But
question.
that,
as
that, that's a dope name too, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
like Brian said, we do all resonate. And for those that didn't or don't understand, for one, we live in the Caribbean. We deal with hurricanes, tropical storms, basically on an annual basis. So after big hurricanes like Hugo and more recently Maria and Irma, hundreds of people in the Virgin Islands and throughout the Caribbean, roofs get torn off from the high winds and everything. So the quickest way to not allow water in your house is to throw blue top on top of it. And
Yeah,
sometimes you don't have the money to build a
You
roof,
just
a
gotta
next
keep
roof. So the
going.
blue top is what you have for the time being, and you keep it pushing. So I really
exactly.
do love that name. Love that name a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just to add one more thing, and it also speaks to our resilience as a people. I always love when people to say, like, us uh, uh, us USVI people, we are resilient, and it's so true. We are the most resilient group of people.
Absolutely.
Bulletproof Dreamers. Okay, now.
Hey, yeah. I
We're gonna be
really
saying that all
excited.
day.
I really excited to see what's going on. Hey, when I
Mhm.
finish school, I come in through to, even if I gotta come and just to just touch the space a little bit to say I involve and I point my sweat equity in there. I would love to work with you guys in the future when I
Yeah.
come in at something and support the youth. And for anybody listening, man, definitely reach out,
Tap in.
show some love. The premiere date December 20th, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
At
Tap in.
6
We're
p.m.
going to have the links for everything, of course, in the description. That way, people can know where to find, to be able to contact the Blue Top Productions. So definitely, this is my outcry to the community to please, man, support as much as we can. Let's share this. Let's big up the youths them, and let's really do our diligence as the old head them to them. Like I'm like, far right people them call we unk. Like, we ain't not old yet, but they don't call us unk. Let's
Yeah.
put on our on caps and really help bring this up and it's also opportunities for us as the older heads to get into these spaces as well and create lanes within these spaces. Like I don't think there should just be one doing this. I think there should be something that different groups emerge from this and start to contribute. And let's put this thing in. We used to have, I think there's few films that came down to the Virgin Islands to be able to film and stuff. So this is a good
Mhm.
opportunity for tourism, for people to come and want to put more productions here, want to reach out to the actors here and pull them up to go do some acting within their realms. So let's rally behind this, man. It's something I feel like we should rally behind and really push.
Sure.
I want to thank you, Diana, again for your resilience and your efforts and putting in the sweat, the time, the tears, the blood. I don't know if you're on the bleeding and set, but the blood, sweat, and tears into into this project and spearheading it, as well as everybody else that's with the production. It would be dope as well. Once things kind of settle and with the premieres on to have some of the students that was a part of the film actually come and talk about
Come on,
their
talk about the
experience.
experience
You know
for
what I'm saying?
sure.
Because we could sit here and talk about it, but coming from the people who some more of the people who were in it to really come and give that outreach and say, hey, listen, if I could do it, you could do it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
don't,
saying?
don't worry,
Yes,
come
It's a
true.
very good outlet.
Come be at the premiere.
yes.
We
Yeah,
don't get it
it's a very
exclusive.
good outlet for
Did we say the
everybody.
time? Did we say the time? December 20th. What was the time?
At
Oh,
6.
oh yeah, yeah. December 20th at 6 p.m. at the
At six.
Caribbean Cinema. That's in
All right.
Sunny Theater.
Big
So y'all
theater, not the
heard it
small
here,
one.
man.
Not the small
December
one, the big
20th,
theater.
6
December
p.m.
20th, 6 p.m.
Big
Yeah,
theater, Caribbean cinemas,
yes.
Bulletproof Dream, and Fall.
Oh, yes.
And they both
Any
gonna be showing at the same time, or they showing in one theater back to back? How that working?
One theater. We're gonna have like a program for the because we're gonna have we're gonna
It's a
make sure
real
that
deal
yeah,
premiere for right.
you know, like when they
Listen
do,
this,
like we're gonna
man.
make sure
You're
that
making
these
me
kids are highlighted the way that they deserve.
okay. I love
and
that.
per usual, y'all know how I like to operate. I'll sponsor one or two individuals to pull up and show the vibes on behalf of Come True. Yeah, I know how we to operate. So we'll sponsor some individual. You can put a word out on your pages as well as Diana that we'll sponsor for some to come through and check it out. Under the
Thank
premise
you.
they
One
leave a
match,
review. They
one
gotta
match,
come back and give
two,
you a review.
four.
You gotta
Okay.
come and leave a review in the comments.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
for
do.
sure. Ain't no just come and dip. Nah, it's come, put in some time, evaluate this film and give an honest review so that way we get the conversation started and more people could come out here and see this, man. Any last words for us, Diana? Anything you want to touch on that we didn't um give you the opportunity to touch on?
No, I think we covered everything, but I do want to thank, you know, all of you just for the opportunity to highlight the Film Over Gun Violence program. And, you know, I just want to say that you are definitely setting the bar for young men. And, you know, that's a powerful thing. And we need more men and women to, you know, step up and actually be role models of the community. And I commend you for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner.
thank you, thank you. We truly
Sure.
appreciate. I truly
It-
appreciate it.
All
With
right.
that, Farai.
Check
Yes.
we out.
Peace over the heart. Come true. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you, Dana, for coming through.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, guys.